So, I've just been asked to take a look at this Liebherr 40 tonner, and I thought this is a good chance for me to show you a little tip and to show you one of the little issues you can have with these. It's a Liebherr, they're pretty bulletproof, I'm not gonna lie. They are the cream of the crop in my eyes, but obviously nothing's perfect, so you always get the odd little issue. And on these 40s, one of the little problems is this, and this is the problem, this cable. So if you know cranes, you'll probably know, and if you've got a 40, you'll probably had this problem a million times. And what happens is that cable gets jammed up. So the driver, it will normally be, he's been working all day, he'll go to telly in, and as he starts to telly in, this cable retracts, and obviously it goes through this little piece here. And what can happen is the cable gets stuck, it all then goes slack, and if the driver hasn't noticed it, it can then unstick itself, and where it's been slack and sort of bunched up, it will then fire back because the drum is under spring tension, and then it will snap the cable. If you've got a good driver, they are normally, and if they're watching what they're doing, instead of just pulling that and punch that section back in, they might notice it and they'll stop it before and then either tell you out or whatever so it doesn't snap the cable. Sometimes it will tell you all the way in and it's all bunched up, and it will just come in and then they can feed it back in. But obviously, ideally, you don't want to get to that point because there's any moment that could fire back in. And if it fires back in, not only could you break the drum or the spring inside the drum, you can snap the cable, and you don't want to be doing that for the fun of it. But on these, it is a common thing that they do get stuck. And just what happens, as you can imagine, this cable is out in the elements when the boom is tellied out. And if it's been windy or anything like that, now and again the cable might get blown and a bit of grease gets on it, and because it's hit the jib or something like that, and you know, stuff happens, you know what I mean, stuff gets on it. And then every time that cable comes back in, whatever sort of crap and rubbish is stuck to the cable goes back with it, and then that builds up, and that is normally what causes your problem. But people don't check it till it's too late. Either it's bunched up and they've just not said nothing for one of them, and they'll just leave it, and then the next time it happens is when it all goes wrong. So if it does happen the first time, normally you'll get away with it, because once it's done it once, if you look after it there and sort of clean it, you'll get away with it. So tip is what I'm going to show you. Easiest way to know if that's what's causing your problem is do this. So you're going to want to have your crane, well, de-rigged. It's easier when it's like down in the rest. But behind here, what you can do as a driver, you can peel this off. The easiest way to do that, slide that off, and there. That is all your problem. So you imagine all that rubbish gets jammed up, and that is what causes that cable to snip. So for the sake of 5 or 10 minutes, just to give that a clean out, you can save yourself a few quid, and it just stops you having that late night where cable's broken, you can't then telly it in, and you're waiting on someone like me to turn up to try and get you de-rigged. So ideally, you want to pull that cable out, clean the cable, and you're going to want to also clean all inside here to try and get rid of as much gunk as you can. So all you need, brake cleaner, bit of rag. You could use a bit of like WD or AC90 or anything like that, GT85, just to clean it. But like you say, you're going to want to pull that cable out. There's a bit of crap there, so what we're going to do, bit of brake clean on a bit of rag, first off, we'll get rid of that. Then give that a clean. Get rid of all the gunk. Anything that's gonna jam it up. Don't be scared to get it in the hole. Don't get too excited. But you want to get as much as the crap out as possible. So give it a good clean out. It's only brake cleaner. It's not going to hurt. But give that a clean. The next piece you're going to want to clean is this. Obviously that's the back side and what pushes onto there. And you can see that is full of muck crap. So we're going to give that a clean and get rid of all the rubbish out of there as well. So now we've got all that all clean, I'll show you it as well. Look how much better that is. So I've flipped it obviously inside out so it was easier to clean. So you can do the same. So obviously normally it will sit like that. But obviously you can see now it is all clean. But so it's not a difficult job. As a driver you could probably do it fairly easy if you're on site. If you've got a, like you say, bit of spray. It's just important to keep an eye on it. And like you say, if it is once it's happened once, just deal with it, because it's only going to happen again and again and it'll only get worse and worse. We're lucky. The driver who's operating this crane, he's been doing it years, he's very clued up. He knows what to look for, he knows there's a bit of an issue, so it's happened today. Straight away, look, my cable's got stuck. Right, no worries, we'll deal with it, because like I say, he knows what it's like. Things happen, and you pick these things up as drivers, so. But it's just a bit of a tip, really. Try and help other people out. So, the next thing we're going to want to do is pull this cable out. One, we want to check the cable so it isn't damaged, and it gives us a chance to put it all out, clean it. Because, like I say, the cable does get jammed up with rubbish. So we're going to keep that piece here because I don't want that to slide away, because it just makes it hard work. But so we got a cable out. You'll know when you've got it pretty much all the way. One, because you can see in the gap, but two, you sort of get this sort of white powdery stuff which comes on the cable, which has been on the drum. So you kind of know when you're at the very end, because it's not really being used. But we'll get a bit of brake cleaner on a bit of rag. You can see that's clean at the minute, and you'll see how bad it looks once we've done this. So all you want to do is hold it, feed it back in, just wipe it as you go along, slowly allow it to reel back in. Already, and that's the better bit. And you'll see, this is why we pull it out, because that little nick, you can see that little nick in the cable is what can cause your problem. So this, obviously you can see, is just jamming up and he's tight. Just getting I can pull it past, but it's just tight. And because of that, that would be enough. So ideally, it wants a new cable. What you can do, depends on how bad it is, you can just sort of use a small blade and shave like the outer sheathing a little, just to give it a smooth edge. That sometimes is enough, just to allow it to sort of pass through that piece easy. That way you get a bit more life out the cable, as long as you don't have to go too far. Obviously if you have to, then it means you want a cable. We'll try it. If I can just make it a bit easier to pass through, then like say, we normally keep cables, like a cable like that on the shelf, so but they're not cheap, so you don't want to, and like I say, it's not a 5-minute job to change it, so if you don't need to, we don't want to. So I've managed to shave that down. I'll show you what I've done. So all I've done, there was a high edge on it, obviously it doesn't look too pretty, but now that piece slides freely. Over that. So I would say at some point that cable's been caught, nicked it, give it a high spot, mixture of that and the grease has jammed it up. So the cable will live for another day. We'll make sure we've got one in stock in case, but I'm happy with that. I've got rid of the slight sort of high spot. It must have like nicked it at some point. The cable itself isn't damaged, so I'm not going to put a cable on that for that. It's free now, it moves freely through it, so saves the cost of a cable. Like you say, I can let the driver know and he can keep an eye on it, but I think just a mixture of that and the grease, but it's a lot better. All I've done is to choose the Stanley blade, just sort of ran it over the top just to lightly take any high spots off, and that was enough. So it's just another little thing you can do, like I say, depending on how bad it is. If it is damaged to the outer sheathing, then you're going to want to change it, because they'll get water ingress and then you're just going to lead to problems. So you have to check it, but that hasn't gone all the way through. It just had a like tiny bit of a high spot in the outer sheathing, so we'll use that and we'll go again. So that's the reason you're going to want to inspect your cable, like you say, because of that little nick. It's easy to happen. Sometimes you could have had a little bit of steel or something on whatever it's lifting on site that's just caught the cable. These things happen. That could have been caused from previous. I mean, it's a fairly new machine, so I wouldn't have thought it is jammed up before. It's probably, I would imagine, he's never mentioned it before either, so I would say this is the first time it's happened, and it's just, that was a little nick. But like I say, it's just a build up of grease, and like you say, but if you pull it all out and clean it, you can then inspect the cable, and then if you do find a little a little bit of damage like that, obviously that can also be the problem. So it was a good job. We've seen it, we know that it's got a bit of damage, but it is minor and it can still work. It's all back in, so we can push this little piece on as it is, but I can't do it. Hook that on like so. Oh, what an idiot. Struggling now. I'm trying to do it one-handed. I'll show you when it's on. There, back on. So the only other thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little notch there, so you can get that Allen key out, because you can see some bright spark has put that like that, which is irritating. So put a little notch there. I can take that off. I'm gonna just check behind it, clean. There's a little bar that this piece slides on. Give that a clean, and then we can make sure everything is on properly inside now as well. And then in future, it should be a lot easier. Now, before anyone says anything, no, I've not put my old spectacles on, because I've had that much metal in my eyes, honestly. It's kind of, for me, I've given up. I can wear full face shield, glasses, and I'll still get metal in my eye. So, before anyone comments, I'm going to do a safety squint, because regardless if I have them on or off, it makes no odds, trust me. That is all I ever go to the hospital for, is if I've got metal in my eye. Most of the time I get it out myself. I'm that flipping good at it now, getting it out myself. I just do it because that's the easiest way. But if I do ever have to go there to get it out, that's all it's for. Don't go to the hospital for any other reason apart from that. But like you say, most of the times I've been there, I've worn safety glasses. The first time I ever done it, I didn't, and I thought, that's it, I'll always wear glasses or a mask or anything. Makes no odds. Somehow, I mean, they call me magnetised here for the reason that is, yeah, I can't even, sometimes I'm not even working with wood, or I'm working with wood, and I'll still get metal in my eye. And you think, how is that even possible? I'm not even touching metal. But yeah, so don't say nothing. Little notch means we can get that Allen key out, because that's a slight design flaw. Don't want to, you know, the Liebherr designers are pretty good, but that's a bad design for some reason. So we'll give that a little clean up, bit of paint as well, so it looks like we've never been there. But I'm going to take that off and I'll show you what's behind. We've got that off, and you can see that's what it looks like inside. So you have got that piece there. You can see that slides along that. So you want to make sure that's clean. Give it a bit of a spray up. Check that piece there. Make sure your cable is clean there. As you can see, it's got a bit of crap on it, so we'll get that off. Give that a bit of a clean up. That bar's all clean now. We know we're all good in there. So we'll throw that back together, and that is jobs a good one. So all back together. A little bit of paint on there, like you'd never know. But yeah, that is all back together. So that's one of my tips on the Liebherrs, on the little 40s. Hopefully it helps you out. Hopefully it stops you having any issues in the future. But yeah, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.